Gladys works at the North Bergen Public Library. She shares her experience of coming to Rutgers and getting her master's in library science. As she entered the workforce again, she shares how she has become the go-to for everything at the library. Hello, Gladys. Thank you so much for coming for this interview.
Hi, Jamin. Thank you for having me.
It is a real pleasure having you. Could you take me on your career journey from when you started at Rutgers to where you are right now?
Sure. So I did it a little bit backwards. I came to Rutgers already having worked in a library.
Mhm.
I'd worked in a library for about 7 years, and decided to pursue my Master's of Information in order to become a librarian. So I was a little hesitant about it to start because I already had an MA. So I
Hmm.
was like, I have to go back and get another degree.
Yeah.
But that being said, going to Rutgers really turned out to be such a great experience. I can never say enough good things about having pursued my MI at Rutgers. And then I decided to make the most of it. While I started classes at school, I became co-chair of LISA, which is the Library and Information Science Student Association for 2020 and 2021. So I was the co-president, not co-chair. Um, and then I was like, you know what? That the opportunity to be a graduate assistant came up too. And I was like, I'm gonna dive right in. I'm gonna do all the things I didn't do the first time around. Um,
That
which
works.
being a graduate assistant was really, till this day, it's the best decision I ever made. The connections I made there in the program are, I still keep in touch with people that were in my classes. I still talk to Ildi. Um, and it just helped me so much with networking and seeing other aspects of careers that I wasn't aware of before. So it's just everything I've learned and everyone I've met, I still apply and keep in contact with currently.
Wow. So I like your career journey as to like you came in experienced and you came and you left with more skill.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Wow. So I mean, in terms of skills, the next question is, could you tell me about some skills that you developed in your journey?
So one of the most important skills I've learned that I had no experience with before, was networking
Hmm.
and figuring out who I was as a professional. I had no idea really what it took to network. You think, oh, it's like a business card here and a business card there, but it's so much more than that. It's much more personal than I would have expected it to be. And I know it's gonna take you by surprise, but I am somewhat introverted, especially in my field of work, because it's professionalism and, you have to present yourself in a certain way. And I didn't really know how to approach that before coming to Rutgers in an authentic way.
Yeah.
So I really, that is one of the most valuable things I learned was that networking skill because it's just constant. I'm constantly networking with so many different people from so many different libraries, from so many different walks of life. And it's just literally constant networking.
Yeah. I mean, the library is a huge place to network and, I mean, people get together. And as you currently work in the North Bergen Public Library,
Yes, I do.
can you tell me more about what happens, a little bit, this is a little off track, but I mean, in your day to day, as in how frequently do you see people come in and meet with each other there, over there? Could you tell
Oh,
me?
so all
Yeah.
the time. It's because the library anywhere is one of the few spaces where you can go to where, you don't have to pay for the space or you don't have time constraints really.
Yeah.
Um, but I network with people who come in just for daily day-to-day activities,
Mm.
as well as people looking to present programs at the library. I have to make connections with other branches of both Union City and Jersey City so that I'm making connections with them, because we allow those patrons to use our library here. So it's
Yeah.
just constantly, oh, you're always just making connections with everyone.
I see. So building that connection. having building the skill of networking really and helps you building that network of libraries where people can where it makes it better for the public people using the libraries to really gain the benefit of the libraries.
Yes, and to help troubleshoot in general,
Mm,
there are so many problems that are unique to libraries that it's really great to be able to reach out to someone who I had a class with.
yeah,
Or, if I needed something more of like imaginarial question, I would
mm,
reach out to Ildi even and say, I'm having trouble with staff, or how can I handle this situation? Or, if it's libraries don't technically have HR departments, so it's really so it's really different, and it can be a bit cumbersome to approach certain typical HR issues that you come across.
right. Wow. That is very interesting. I mean, working in a library, who thought would be interesting, but I mean, so
It's deceiving working in a library.
it is 100% deceiving. So I would like to ask you about the networking piece more in detail about how it has benefited you specifically. Could you tell me more on that?
Yeah, of course. So the networking part that's benefited the most for myself is the connections I made with my fellow students at Rutgers.
Mm,
I have friends that work in the Cranford Public Library. My old GA person that I worked with was Cheyenne. She
yeah.
also works at she's a connection that I still keep in touch with. She works in an academic building now,
Mm,
academic library, and it's just great to be able to reach out if I need something, to be able to have that camaraderie with them in different aspects.
right. I mean, having friends that are also your work friends.
Yes,
That
yeah.
is, I mean, that is the biggest flex that, you could have because I got it.
Yes, yeah, it's something I'm really so fortunate for. And I wouldn't have met half of those people or made those connections if it hadn't been for Rutgers.
Yeah, I totally agree. Rutgers is a
Yeah.
huge network in itself.
It really, really is, yes.
So for the final part, I would like to ask you about what advice you would give to students at Rutgers.
Like you said, I would 100% dive into the careers department
Mm,
and just take full advantage of the resources Rutgers offers. I mean, anywhere you go, you're gonna find another fellow like Rutgers alum. And there's that instant camaraderie with them. You're like, oh, were you in this program? Did you take this class? Or like, did you go to that coffee shop around the corner? Like there's just all these small connections that you're like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm here with someone else. And it's just, at least for me, it puts me at ease. And I mean, I know I worked as a GA, so that's for the careers department, but they really are so helpful, especially with resume building. Um, Writing a resume is always challenging. I find myself that I have a hard time, excelling myself, for lack of a better word.
mm.
But they were so helpful with making my resume. I'm like, after working with them, I look at my resume and I was like, that's me. I did all this. I was
Yeah,
like, that sounds so fancy. I didn't know.
I agree. Going to the career center or speaking to LD or one of the advisors about specifically about the resume. I mean, it can be hard to see our own reflections in our own achievements because we're very self-critiquing of ourselves.
100%.
So,
I couldn't have said it better.
it's best to like go to the advisor, have them have a reflection of you.
Yeah, because
And
you said, we're very critical of ourselves.
yeah,
But not only that, they have the knowledge to just craft such a resume that really does portray your best self, because that is their expertise.
that's true. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Well, that sums up my questions. Thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you.